Hello, what is up everyone? It is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Virtual Boy Wario Land for the Nintendo Virtual Boy, aka the worst Nintendo console ever. So, last time we have managed to able to win through Stage 5, Stage 6, Stage 7, and of course we did manage to take down the second boss being the forms of Stage 8, but the forms of, well, Sandfish, as far as I recall. So today for this episode is the fact that we are about to be hitting on to the forms of the 9th stage, and possibly we might also do Stage 10, Stage 11, and possibly Stage 12 as well. So, potentially speaking, is the fact that we are basically almost done with this game. So because of that though, I know it's definitely going to be the shortest Wario Land game ever, which is true for circumstances anyway, because until, you know, Wario Land 2 and onwards, that gets a little bit more longer. So, oh boy, this is what reminds me of something. It reminds me of so much of Super Mario Sunshine. Why? Because the main emphasis on this stage, as you can see in stage 9, we have to get a lot of usage on watermelons. So yes, if you made one simple mistake with the watermelon will able to actually attempt to break. But however, unlike the ones in Super Mario Sunshine, that basically you have to use the flood to able to actually just or try to able to go straight towards the watermelon to able to maneuver, you know, the watermelon for the Watermelon Festival, in this case the infamous mission in the whole game, due to the forms of how tedious and all that is. And aside from all that stuff though, it's just the fact that, well, we just have to get used to with this, I'm afraid. But at least thankfully, this level is really short. Like, until when it gets to a point, it's the fact that whenever you're trying to go towards the, well, if you're trying to grab the key or the next treasure, well, the key is required until you progress to the actual levels themselves. But as far as the treasure is concerned, well, at least you can able to go after it, like I was about to be able to go ahead and do with it. So either way though, it knows what it is when it comes to my playthroughs and all that stuff. So because of that though, I've no idea why I just went back down to that pipe as we go. Mainly it's because I just want to take down this watermelon, so because of that, there's going to be some hidden areas from here. So, a few things we want to explain is the fact that obviously today's day is of course the 23rd of April today, in this case in 2021, and it looks like that next week is going to be the celebration for the release of new Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo Switch. So even then though, geez, it's been about, well, we only got about a week left now until that game is finally going to come out, because I'm really looking forward to it. Especially noticeable how, you know, the visuals are still pretty gorgeous even to this day. Especially noticeable because it's definitely a little bit more visually appealing compared to the forms of Sword and Shield, because I know still that Pokemon fans complaining about the fact that the models from the likes of, well, the visuals I should say, from Sword and Shield is heavily borrowed from the likes of, well, the 3DS Pokemon titles, which just feels a bit out of place in some scenarios, which I can honestly seem the truth, but the thing is though, it's just the fact that it's just a bit of a coincidence that is, so... Excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, folks, but, oh yeah, one thing I totally forgot to mention about this is that the fact that, well, you remember when I said before, back in the forms of Super Mario 64 DS Let's Play, that, originally, that, Sony was able to actually expect that they're gonna bring us some sad news, during later on, where basically that, you know, back in the day, I think it was during in March sometime, that, no, it's actually by the forms of February, or, I think it's in March. Yeah, I think it's definitely in March for sure. But, basically what happens is the fact that they've mentioned about the fact that the PlayStation Store, from the likes of the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita, will be closed by the time until summer. It turns out that recently, during the course of the past few days ago, fans responded, and sure enough, Sony does not confirm that the stores will close on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita. So it's like, this is good, especially noticeable because if anyone's gonna be missing out on, you know, the most impressive titles on the PlayStation 3 or PlayStation Vita, then by all means, you can able to actually just well, download any other titles on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita at any time you wanted to. So yeah, at least that's the only good news about it. However, that cannot be applied on the PlayStation Portable, which I get it because of the forms of the PSP has been out for quite a long time now, so because of this though, yeah, we're just gonna have to leave out on PSP for now on, just because, well, you know, PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, that they've now finally able to actually stay put with the actual online store opening kind of stuff. So even then though, that's actually great news, especially notable that, well, if they want to try to, you know, try out the forms of some DLC stuff for Sonic 06 for curiosity's sake, or Sonic Unleashed DLC for the PlayStation 3, well, they can still able to actually buy those during time now. So because of that though, I'm very happy about this, especially notable because, well, unlike the forms of the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console shop by the forms of Wii Shop channel, that obviously it actually introduced that ever since in 2006, but then sure enough it discontinued during at some point by the end of the 2010s era, or to be more specifically 2019, which I do miss those days. But aside from all that stuff though, is the fact that we can still able to get older games nowadays, especially noticeable on the Wii U eShop variations of some of these downloads. So, at least you can technically still get those. So, either way though, yeah, I'm very happy about this, especially because, you know what I'm saying. And also another thing as well is the fact that I've managed to able to actually decide to realize that, you know, ever since the journey forms have been, it's kind of hard to say about this, honestly, because even then, though, that's the only stuff I can think about it. Although, kind of think about it, though, is the fact that, well, one thing I should probably mention about this is the fact that, usually with the forms of that coin minigame, as you saw, basically I've managed to achieve the perfect, kind of, you know, jingle right there. That means it's the fact that the coins amounts that you've owned are actually maxed out, like 9,999. You know, kind of like the original game, except the fact that in the original game does not go over like 1,000. So because of that though, you're pretty much going to be stuck into 999 coins, unless if you're able to, you know, utilizing the actual cheat codes or Konami codes or anything else like that. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. Alright, so here we go on stage 10, where basically in this level it's gonna be some sort of like a labyrinthy maze. But before we continue our progressioning for the sake of time, every once in a while we need to deal with this particular mini fight here. And basically he's pretty simple. He's gonna have to be able to use these little guys right there and able to toss it right back at this little creepy face, and that's all he does. So either way though, not that challenging if you manage to get the hang of this. So eventually at some point the game starts to get a little bit tricky and difficult, but honestly with all these short levels in mind, that it doesn't take me that long to able to complete them. I mean, sure enough though, as I said this before, that this game is gonna be the most shortest Wario Land games in the series. Well, at least technically that, yes, it is true. Because, well, usually relatively speaking with Wario World for the GameCube, that sometimes the game might be a bit longish, depending on the forms of a lot of exploration you have to deal with, which is pretty true for circumstances anyway. So, and then in here, this is where we get ourselves the next treasure. And, fundamentally speaking, I think we've only got about 2 treasures left until we're able to actually gather all 10 treasures in the game. So the next treasure will be on stage 11, and the last treasure, it should be on stage 13. Now as far as stage 12 and 14 are concerned, well, they're basically our boss stages, which as far as I've already noticed from the start. I first thought they're going to be add something like, you know, add more stages to the table originally whenever I first saw this game, but it turns out though they've only got like 14 stages, which again is a bit lesser compared to the forms of how it does it on the previous game on Wario Land for the Game Boy. Like, that game has over like, well, it has like 40 levels in total because of the secret exits in mind. Whilst in here, it just only got 14, so because of this though, I just have no idea why they managed to able to bring us some small amounts of levels. Although, whenever we get onto Wario Land 2, Wario Land 3, and especially noticeable with Wario Land 4, that basically the amount of levels are quite massive, all things considered. Even Wario Land, the Shake Dimension, or Shake It if you lived in America, then you probably get the idea. And as far as I've noticed is the fact that in Wario Master of the Skies, or in Japan, Wario in 7, as what's known in Japan, just because of the 7 powers that he's got. And by the way, this is the reason why I'm entering this room is because of that key. And you're gonna have to collect the key in the middle clock little thing here. So, and you have to be very careful of the forms of a lot of hazards every now and then, especially with all these spikes down below. All these enemies will be able to ambush you, and yeah, this is what I mean when it comes to the point where the game might actually get a little bit tricky every now and then. But either way though, I'm pretty sure I might as well got this though, assuming if I somehow able to realize that I somehow use save states most of the time for some difficult parts. But for the most part, it's actually not too noticeable, I don't think. And you do realize is the fact that some of these graphical overhauls with certain sprites, it might be a bit glitched up at points, mainly due to the fact that, well, this is on the emulator. And as far as I've noticed, on the actual Virtual Boy hardware, they don't seem to be able to actually get ourselves these sprite glitches, but only emulations do. So I found this a little bit strange whenever I just managed to able to actually saw that coming. So but yeah, you get the idea of how this goes, basically, so either way, though, you probably get the gist of it. And also, another thing as well is the fact that recently, that Clement J64, another one of those YouTube videos I was a big fan of, he managed to recently come back, because obviously with all this construction he has been working on, and now he actually got some of these videos in 60 frames per second, which is pretty impressive, and the quality itself is way up there. Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive so far. And especially noticeable that he started to be doing his Let's Play of DuckTales Remastered for the Xbox Live Arcade, Wii U, eShop download, / PSN download, and I'm presuming Steam versions as well. So, yeah, I might able to actually get around onto the DuckTales Let's Plays at some point, because I definitely heard some good things about it, like to be more specifically with platforming and what have you. But I need to get good practice with those. Mainly it's because I might as well do practice runs on my PS4 version on the forms of Disney Classics Afternoon Collection. Like, it does contain, like, you know, a few games here and there. So I'll definitely need to get a bit of a good practices when it comes to doing DuckTales 1 and 2. And then I'm also able to do a Let's Play on the NES Classic Mini. So that might be the deal of a job right there. But I digress. Oh boys, here we go on to stage 11. Stage 11 is the beginning of one of the trickiest levels nowadays, especially because the actual main emphasis on stage 11 is going to be filled to the brim with lava. And because of that though, if you dare touch the fire, or the lava, or technically it's fire, not so much lava, just because it's... Usually, apparently we ended up in the forms of some sort of like a factory facility or something, but basically if you dare touch the lava, then you're able to actually bounce it back up. And then if you somehow touch the fire again, or in this case the lava, if you will, it's instant death. I can assure to that. Although, unlike the forms of the original game for sure, that you instantly die in the lava, whilst in here, you do able to take damage, but either way though, you lose your power up and all that stuff, but either way though, it knows what it is, so... And there's no point for going in here, just because it's rather pointless, but the reason why we're going on to the background portion of the level is because of that treasure I could find. To be more specifically, on that door over there. But it does need to require Dragon Eagle Wario in order to able to actually just to do that, so... Something to keep that in mind, because that it usually just shoots out fireballs and all that stuff. And using the eagle with that is actually really useful, especially noticeable if you're having a hard time with the level. Like, I almost expecting if I was going to be able to do multiple tries on that level, but either way though, it sometimes might be able to actually be quite tricky if you're not careful. But it's kind of like a semi-blind playthrough, one thing I totally forgot to mention about that, just because, well, sometimes if I was coming across into something completely accidental or something, then most of the time I might able to actually run into things like a full hedgehog like I am. But no, you get the gist of it. So either way though, And it looks like that we only got about 2 more platforming levels to go, / 2 boss fights that we can able to take on at some point by the end of this month in particular, on April. Speaking of which though, is the fact that we only got about 8 more days to go until May. So because of that though, yeah, we actually, well, kind of surprised about the fact that how come some of these days like this seems able to actually, son of a biscuit. I was expecting if I was gonna able to defend myself, but apparently out of nowhere that enemy just caught me off guard. Oh yeah, another thing worth noting for is the fact that with those fan blades right there, that sometimes it actually takes you up. And either way though, that might actually help you out, specifically on this room. But there's actually a previous room that I just managed to win through earlier. Sometimes I have to wait until the actual fan blades decides to stop. And because of that though, you're gonna have to do some sort of like a timing thing. Because if you don't time your things itself or what have you, then you're probably gonna get hit. So here's the final part. Oh jeez, that was close. Almost gonna screw myself right there, but thankfully I did make it, so huzzah for that. And I think we only got about 1 more platforming left to go before we get on to the forms of the other 2 bosses through time. So even then though, yeah, we're actually getting pretty close. And I somehow spent on this game for about 50 or so minutes so far. In terms of this Let's Play so far. So, once again, we're gonna have to deal with this guard enemy or mini fights to deal with, just like before. Except now, he shoots out this little flamethrower between either the left or the right side. But when you get the hang of it though, it's actually not too bad, and especially noticeable, it's pathetically easy. So because of that though, yeah, not much else to this guy. So because of that though, yeah, everything's all comes together for the most part, so either way though, he's got to once again stomp on this weak spot for about twice, and basically once you're done with that, then you can hop into the 3rd boss fight. Every now and then the boss fight might be a bit tricky though, but it's pretty easy when you're able to get it down and over with. So, in this case, the next boss fight we are face off against is apparently, it appears to be like a tank. Well, to be more specifically, according to the forms of the Mario Wikipedia page, that it did say, his boss name was Tank and Operator. Like, basically, you're gonna have to deal with the tank, and then you're gonna have to be able to stomp on its, top portion of the tank, and then when you deal with that, basically you need to be able to deal with the amount of damage to the operator. You know what this boss reminds me of? It reminds me of one of those boss fights from Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz, that basically you're gonna have to deal with the forms of, well, I don't know how you usually call that boss fight, because I know it has been quite a long time since I actually did manage to play Banana Blitz on, not only for the Wii, but also the HD remasters as well. So because of that though, yeah, I'm still very curious to see how this is going to turn out for the likes of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, if that's going to be true or not. But if it's true, then we can probably able to celebrate the 20th birthday for the sake of Super Monkey Ball franchise. And, as far as the Sonic game are concerned, still haven't heard of it yet. Mainly it's because of how the fact that, you know, relatively speaking, they're working on something else in particular. So, yeah, yet again, just deal 3 damage on the operator. You don't need to deal with the tank, so you're gonna have to aim for the operator itself. And then when you're done with the operator for about 3 hits, then the operator is down for good. And basically afterwards, then we can grab some more coins, just in case we can able to actually just... Well, I'm pretty sure enough is the fact that as far as requiring to get the best ending, I think I actually got enough. Like, to be more specifically, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm perfectly gonna be okay in terms of getting the perfect ending. Although there's also the awesome ending, which I'll talk more about that once we get into the forms of, you know, the finale portion of the forms of this game in particular. Although, mind you, there are 8 different endings in this game, which, usually depending on the forms of how much coins you collect, and how much treasure you get. So, unfortunately though, you can't able to actually go ahead and actually access to the warp points this time around, which is a little bit of a shame, because you have to go for a lot of exploration. You know, kind of like the Metroidvania kind of stuff. But, also you have to deal with the time limit as well, so because of that though. But thankfully you do have plenty of time, like you have to go for 20 minutes in each level. So, yeah, it doesn't matter which one of those, times you could have to put up with. So, oh darn it, I just lose some hearts. I need to collect some hearts to be able to actually get myself extra lives, even though, mind you, it does remind me of Kingdom Hearts by collecting hearts. But, except rather than defeating Heartless or anything else like that. So, you probably get the idea. So, I guess, suffice to say, is that I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me, next Monday for more of Let's Play of Virtual Boy Wario Land. It's gonna be the finale, so things you'll be looking forward to at this rate. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.